Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action once again for another exciting night's worth of racing here in America. Circuit COTA, America, Circuit of the Americas. I've got that whole name completely wrong there. But we are here in Texas. We are live in Austin, ready for another night's worth of crazy racing here at the Circuit of the Americas. Tonight is Pro-Am night, and what a night's worth of racing we have ahead of us. It's still a very close championship. Top 15 still separated only by 100 points at this stage of the season. And we've only just got started this season. We've already ticked off 3 rounds. We've done Zolder, Monza, and we've now done Zandvoort. We are now here in COTA for round 4 of the season. Sprint race coming up very, very shortly, as is the feature race not long behind it either. And a quick run through of tonight's schedule. Obviously, first things first is the free practice session all these guys are currently in at the minute, getting as much data as they possibly can. As you can see, track temperature relatively hot once again, 36 degrees here in America. It has been quite warm, and it's going to continue on through into tomorrow night for the pros as well. So keep an eye on what the weather will do this evening. Also, regarding the rest of the schedule, it is going to be a sprint race, and the sprint race is going to be split between silver and bronze. And if you don't understand between them, silver and bronze are your coloured boxes on the side of the stream. Red boxes means bronze, grey means silver. So obviously the silver drivers will be starting to the front of the grid, and when they're at the front of the grid, their championship order will be in reverse. So for example, Langley is your championship leader. He will start to the back of the silver category. We've then also got the bronze. They will also have the same thing done to them towards the back of the pack. And we'll see how these guys get on for a 15-minute sprint race. Obviously, a pit stop is required. Obviously, the way ACC works on the game, we can't have one without the other. So if we want a pit stop for race 2, we have to have a pit stop for race 3. Pit stop window will open immediately, and that will allow the drivers to pit straight away if necessary, or they can hang out a little bit longer and try and make positions up as they go along. Once that's done, we have a small free practice session, basically a comfort break for the drivers just to get themselves ready for the long feature race that will come after. But not before then. There's a qualifying session, a short qualifying session, about 10 minutes long, 12 minutes long, and that session will obviously be very, very intense and very quick, as COTA is a long circuit, so it'll take a lot of time just trying to get around the circuit, let alone just getting a lap time on the board. So then once the qualifying session is done, that will determine the grid, and then we will go into our feature race, a 17-minute race, 1 hour and 10 minutes, and a pit window is required. And pit window will open within the first 5 minutes of the session and then close before 5 minutes of the end of the session. And in that point, they have to make at least 1 mandatory stop and at least adding 1 litre of fuel. The more litres they add on the car, obviously the longer the pit stop will take. So 1 litre is roughly 3.2 seconds, and that will go up every 0.2 for every litre that they add, and a full tyre change is about 30 seconds. So strategy is a big game here. With the temperatures being as high as they are, we could see possible tyre changes in this one. We saw a couple at Zandvoort, didn't quite work out, but does look like it's still a competitive edge to change the tyres. So we'll see how they all get on this evening with that. And that is a rundown of our schedule this evening, bringing us up to about 10:30 tonight when we finish. Regarding the championship standings, your man is currently out on track. Langley is your championship leader at the minute, ahead of Vitas in P2, Vandango in P3, with Flores sat in P4. Unsworth is P5, Greaves in P6, Varga P7, Nebo in P8, Wolski P9, and Lee in P10. Rounding out the top 10, that is those guys. Craig is in the 11th place with 12 is Aberdeen. 13th is Richie, while in 14th is Old Sim Racer. Bolton in 15th, Taylor in 16th, with Argent in 17th place position. Clarble in 18th. Saunders will start in 19th, with Bell in 20th. Smith will be in 21st, with Johnson 22nd, Waste 23rd, De Block in 24th, with Archer 25th, with Smith 26th. Gabino in 27th, P. Williams in 28th, with KLF in 29th. Goodwill in 30th, with Marshall in 31st. Dempsey 32nd, while Atherton is in 33rd. Wheel 34th. Best in 35th. Sturrock 36th. Andrews in 37th. Tucker in 38th. Bettison 39th, and Roy bringing up the rear. Wysocki still yet to score a point on that one. And obviously a reminder of the leading bronze driver at this minute is Bell. He is leading the bronze category at this stage. But let's hear you guys from the chat. Gary Carble in the chat, tips in the chat as well. Let's hear from you guys, as Langley is the man setting the pace at the minute. And let's see what these boys can do here in these tricky conditions of COTA Circuit Americas. Let's have a driver that's coming into the final few corners. I believe that is the number 6. That is Vitas. So we will take a lap around this fantastic circuit with Vitas. And when Vitas then comes into the final corner, we will go for a lap around the fantastic circuit of COTA. Get a good exit out of the final corner to then lead yourself down towards the start-finish straight. The start will be later down the straight, up towards the actual start line, while the finish is towards the back. Heading up towards turn number 1, braking at the white line onto the right-hand side and dropping down to first gear. Get the front end turned in, get it hooked up, and get a good exit out the corner to then head down towards turn number 2, swooping into the right-hander up to 4th gear, possibly up to 5th as well, and then swooping into the Maggots and Beckett section into 4, into 5, and then dropping down 4th into 6th corner, swooping around, heading then down into turn 7, and all these elevation changes really unsettling the car up into turn number 8. Get the front end turned in to open up 9, and make sure you don't run up too wide so you don't get that track limits. Past the kink and then heading down the straight, as Vitas has now decided to bail on that one. So we'll try and find the car that's nearest to the end of the lap. I believe it was the 75. That is Bettison, yes it is, as he bounces over that curb. And we'll carry on from where we left off, through the left-hand kink, and then heading down the long, it's a relatively short straight, and into another heavy braking zone of the hairpin. Get the front turned in, make sure you get a good exit for the long back straight. If you're in a Lexus, if you're in a Mustang, or if you're in any form of front engine car with a lot of speed in a straight line, this is where you'll start to gain all your momentum back as you then head down towards the left-hander. Braking hard just past the red tent that was in the right-hand side, red gazebo. You see Bettison's gone a little bit deep through the left-hander. And as you go through there, you then come into the Hockenheim section. Starting with the right-hand side first. Carry enough speed into here. Make sure the car slows down. The car's going to be sliding, it's unsettled, struggle to keep the rear facing the right way. And then you throw it into another Hockenheim section. Try to get the front turned in and then into possibly the most torturous corner of them all. The opposite way around to Istanbul's turn 7. And it is a swooping right-hander. Multiple apexes through there, but get a good run through there as you head into the penultimate corner. Now brake just before the corner, get the car slowed down, turned in, and Bettison hitting that sausage curb a little bit too hard, and then into the final corner. You've done all the hard work, and it's very easy just to run a little bit wide through there, and then get a good exit out of the final corner to then set yourself up for a lap around the Circuit of Americas. A fantastic circuit nonetheless, and a circuit we do enjoy coming back to. And as all the guys are currently in the pits at the minute, it is Langley still leading the way ahead of Ritchie at the minute, with Klarball sat in P3, Varga in P4, Vitas sat in P5, Bolton in P6, Craig in P7, Old Sim Racer P8, P9 is Flores, and P10 at the stage is Kneebone. Nice to see Cranky Duckhead in the chat. Good evening to him, and hello everyone else. Let's hear you guys in the chat, and let's see how you are all doing this fine evening. And like I said, it's a night of interesting racing ahead of us. I think this is going to be really testing the Pro-Am drivers. With the temperatures as high as they are, it's going to be incredibly difficult to keep the car under control. And yeah, I think this is going to be a good round, I think, and definitely some interesting opportunities for drivers here tonight. So I'm just going to make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. Obviously, there was also a quick thing that I posted up in the Discord today for mainly the drivers to have a look at. Announcement from Mercedes-Benz themselves. They've got a little competition going on at the minute to go and beat lap times around the Monza. And feel free, if any of the guys want to have a go and sign up to that. We've got plenty of talented drivers. I think that could be a threat to some of the top guys. In now, it's ACC, Gran Turismo, iRacing, and one other as well. I believe it was possibly Race Room, maybe. But feel free to have a look and have a go at them if you fancy trying to be one of the fastest guys in the Mercedes-Benz around Monza. What else we've got to talk about? We've obviously got the fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay merchandise. And Audio Sport, Volkswagen, manufacturers of T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. Also, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified. If you do like what you see here at SimPlay Motorsport and you do want to be a part of the action, then head over to our sim grid. The sim grid is where you are able to sign up and join in any of the events that we have on here at SimPlay Motorsport. Once you have done that and you've signed up to the sim grid, you can then head over to our Discord, and once you're in the Discord, interact with all the drivers and the admin team as well. Once you're there, make sure you do the hot stint. Once you've done the hot stint, then that's pretty much everything you need to do. Ready to go racing. We've got amazing championships. We've got the Who Darren Cup on a Tuesday, Pro-Am on a Wednesday, and obviously the Pro Class on a Thursday. So we're coming to the final stages of this qualifying session. Guys, let's hear from you in the chat. Do we like this circuit? Is this a circuit that we like? Is Circuit of the Americas one that we like? Or is it kind of a hate, love, Marmite kind of circuit? For me, it's a circuit that I'm not particularly fond of. I do think there's a lot better American circuits out there. Don't get me wrong, I think the idea and the concept is genius. We're obviously using world famous corners, from the famous Silverstone, Maggots and Beckett's to the Hockenheim section, and then even to Istanbul's, I've said turn 7, it's turn 8, left-hander. So all of it is a brilliant circuit to kind of put together, but it doesn't quite work for me as a racetrack. I think it's just a little bit too, I think for big cars like F1 cars, LMP cars, it's definitely a circuit that would suit them, but for anything else it's kind of a bit too big, open, and just a bit clumsy, I find this circuit at times. But let's hear you guys in the chat. Let's hear what you think of Circuit of the Americas, and who do you think tonight is going to be the one to beat? Because at the minute, Langley is looking quite competitive at the minute. I think he's still top of the sessions. Yes, he is, with quite a significant gap, 7/10 separating him and Richie. As Varga now goes within 3/10, as track now obviously goes to optimum. It's been optimum for a while now. The track temperature now to 37 degrees. So guys, it's getting warm out there, and those tyres are going to be struggling indeed. Peaceful Stepdad in the chat, good evening everyone, and good luck tonight to all the drivers. Yes indeed. And also I want to say to Mike Matthews, who'll be going away this weekend to go and watch the British Grand Prix. I obviously heard the rumours that he possibly might be trying to take the rig. Not sure how that's going to go down. Mac in the chat, hello SimPlay and chat, hope you're well. I thought the person who's laid out COTA were hitting the pipe when they came up with the configuration, but the more I drove it, the more I like it. Dean Wasaki saying he doesn't like this track, he hates it. And I get what you mean there, Mac. It's definitely one of those I mean, if you can gel with it, then, I mean, well, we'll just have a look at the Pro tomorrow night. I believe Brendan Williams has come out stating that this is possibly his favourite circuit, one that he's very, very good at, and one that the rest of the guys need to keep an eye on. But yeah, it's not up there for me on ACC for my favourite. Cranky Duckhead, me too. It's rare I don't get in some sort of trouble where, yeah, this circuit does offer opportunities for a bit of chaos, especially turn number 1, where it just tightens at the exit as well. Really throws off opportunities. And don't get me wrong, I think when it's wheel-to-wheel action, there's definitely good opportunities for good racing. I think more or less most of the time it ends up in a disaster, and you end up having one driver that seems to be really good around here and absolutely dominate, while the rest all seem to struggle. So I think also with the normal conditions, it would have been a little bit more entertaining. Obviously, we're looking at possibly a second or two slower than what we would usually have, just due to the high temperatures. Tips in the chat: not a fan, only drive it if I have to. Fair play, fair play. I mean, if I were to pick other like American circuits compared to this, obviously back in the Project Cars days, don't jinx me, I apologize, Williams. I hope you got near my Lamborghini time. But I think for me there's better American circuits. I mean, I'm a massive lover of Long Beach. I prefer Long Beach to this. I know it's not a permanent race circuit, but I love the challenge of Long Beach. I think it's more entertaining than most other street circuits, and as a pure racing street circuit, I think Sonoma is a massive challenge. Sebring as well is another one that's very good. A lot of these circuits just need updating to meet FIA standards, and I think once they meet those FIA standards, you could see some amazing racing. But the only other one we need to discuss about that is on the calendar that could be an issue, because we've nicknamed it Spooky Laguna, is obviously Laguna Seca. The amount of times that we've come to Laguna Seca and things have gone tits up is unreal. We've had some really weird things happen at Laguna Seca. But guys, if you were like, if Formula One, okay, here's the chat for you guys while we wait for the next session. If you could replace COTA as the American circuit, where would it be, and where would you go? What would be its replacement? It could be anything on ACC. It could be anything. It could be, you know, it could be, like I said, Road America. Could be Road Atlanta. If anything was on there to replace the COTA for the American Grand Prix, where would you go? That's my question. Seriously, a challenge. That's the appeal for me. Fair enough, a bit like the Nordschleife, a challenge, but at the same time, I really detest that circuit. Probably one of the most stupid design circuits in the world, in my opinion. So we've got the grid ready to go. We've got the reverse grid all up to grabs here. Plenty of points on offer here. Phil in the chat, for me, it would be Singapore. It would have to be Singapore the night race. Singapore the night race is not an American circuit, Phil, so you would not be able to use that one. A bit of buffering from my stream there, so hopefully that sorted itself out. Max, Sebring, or Road Atlanta. Very good choices. Very good choices indeed. Hopefully my sync hasn't gone too far out on the stream. So if I just 2 seconds, maybe I'll get the stream back up to date a minute. So give me 2 moments while we have a quick look at our Patreons, and a massive thank you to them for supporting the channel as well. I'll be back in a few moments time. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Just obviously a little bit of an issue with the stream now. Obviously, it had a moment of buffering. We're now up to date. and should be in sync. Lovely. Cranky Duckhead, I do like the bronze silver split. Obviously that does work out the same in the pro category as well. They're obviously platinum and gold. So while the guys are going around and doing their formation lap, let's have a quick look at the grid order for this evening. So hopefully this should be up to date. Nope, I got the wrong one, so we'll have to change that a minute. That's Zandvoort, I believe. So give me 2 seconds, but we will get the grid order up momentarily. As I believe I should have the correct order. It says Zandvoort, but it should be... Okay, maybe it is that one. For some reason it says Zandvoort at the top, so hey ho, it is what it is. So round 5 and 6 of the season. This is our reverse grid for the order. It's going to be Williams from pole position, from Gabino starting alongside him. Then we got Fandango starting in P3, which I don't think is right, with Williams then in P5, with Saunders in P6. Then we've got Gary Clarball P7 ahead of Argent in P8. And then we have Taylor ahead of Bolton for 9 and 10. And then we should have Old Sim Racer ahead of Richie for 12th place position. Then we got Aberdeen for 13th, Craig in 14th. And 15th we should have Lee ahead of Wolfski. Just behind them we should have Kneebone, and then ahead of Varga. Kneebone's home race this will be, I believe it's Bolton's, Langley's as well. Unsworth for 19th and Flores for 20th position. And then we got Fandango in 21st ahead of Vitus. Sorry, it was Phil I ended up getting wrong earlier on. Then we got Langley in 23rd ahead of Dean Wasaki. And then we have Betterson ahead of Tuck. Obviously these guys are in the bronze category, so we're into the bronze section with Andrews 27th and Storrock starting 28th. Best will start 29th ahead of Wheel in 30th. And we got DJ Phil towards the back and Alexa Marshall towards the back in 32nd ahead of Smith, and then ahead of Archer in 34th. Darren Bell in 35th, and then Sandgreaves at the back, because obviously he said he was unsure if he was going to make the start. Excuse me. And they are now coming into the final sector. Did Sam make it into the server? That is the question. No, he did not. So he will not make the start of the sprint. There's a few drivers who didn't make the start, and that is Storrock and Marshall failed to make the start. As we're about to get underway and racing here at Circuit of the Americas for the first race for the Pro-Ams. It is Williams and Ganebo, Waste and Johnson all in the top 4 as we now wait for the green light here for the sprint race. And we are green and go. Williams gets a drive-through penalty for jumping the start, and he now heads up to turn number 1, and a big mistake from there. Race 1 has now pretty much ended for him, and already contact towards the back there, and I believe that was Storrock, and you can see all sorts of carnage there. I think that is Craig facing the wrong way. Fandango's been involved in that. I think Dean Wasaki has managed to get away with it, but there's cars absolutely everywhere, and I think Bell was the one who come off, sorry, not Bell, I think, yeah, there is Tucker. He's one of the ones that came off worst, as did, I think, his teammate possibly as well. Yeah, there is his teammate. So both of those guys ended up having a bad start here, but Langley trying to work his way through the order, but Gabino leads the way ahead of Nuclear Waste now, and P. Williams. So Williams has to stop. I'll come in and do his drive-through, so he just got a little bit eager. Just in the background now, Saunders look up the inside of the two cars by, and that is Wolfski, I think, been turned around there. He has, And he's going to struggle to get going as Argent's dropped down the order. Richie, meanwhile, is on the move. He's in the mid-pack there as now Wolfsky, Saunders is on the attack. And he's got Klarbel and Waste just ahead of him. He's now going to do Waste up the inside. Going to get Gary Klarbel. No, he's just a little bit too far back as Taylor looks to get involved as well. He gets relatively close to Newt Waste there. And Taylor looks to try and go around the outside, going into the first part of the Hockenheim section. But he's going to get a run a little bit wide, I think. He will do, but he'll have the inside for the next part of the sequence of corners. But you see that Saunders just a little bit slower on the apex, but Nuclear Waste bouncing over the curbs there and will lose that position. But Gabino leading the way. Lamborghini looking relatively competitive here, even though it's got a weight loss here. It's looking relatively good at the minute regarding pace. There's more cars off. That is Best, who's had a moment. Williams just struggling to get going again as he's in that bronze group of cars now. The question is, what does he do here? Does he choose to pit early and get that damage repaired? Meanwhile, Richie is in, so is Saunders, as is Williams. Obviously, Williams coming in to serve his drive-through, but Gabino, the start he needed, and away he goes, comfortably out in front, ahead of Gary Klarbel, ahead of Taylor, ahead of Waste, ahead of Aberdeen, and Old Sim Racer. Langley's moved up, Kneebone's there, as is Bolton, and Vitus rounds out the top 10. Vitus and Langley had a great fight out in Zandvoort. At the minute, Langley seems to have the edge around this circuit here at the Circuit Americas. He's trying to go wheel to wheel with Old Sim Racer, and you can see he's running on the pad, and you can see the way the car moves from jerking left to right as Williams has now got his drive-through done. And I think it's going to hurt him still, but not as bad as we first probably thought. He's not going to drop right to the back of the pack. Newt Waste, meanwhile, still under pressure from Aberdeen in that Audi. Very tricky car, I would say, is around here. It's very loose and not a lot of rear wing on the back of that car. So will start to affect Aberdeen a little bit later on, I think. But in the straights, it will be mighty. Meanwhile, Bolton sending it up the inside on Kneebone. And just caught Kneebone out ever so slightly there. But Kneebone would get the traction and get the run. Langley is going to be right in front of him, though, with the traction. And the slipstream going towards them. They're fighting over the slipstream. And Langley defending from Bolton as Kneebone's going to look to the outside. As they're going side by side, Bolton now looking to the left-hand side of Langley. They make sure they don't make contact, and they don't manage to do so. Great racing there. Oh, and Kneebone gets a little shove there from Bolton. It's not done yet as Bolton and kind of swoops his way through between the two cars and holds off Kneebone. Meanwhile, Vitus has just got past Wolfsky in the background. And oh, Langley has caused a little bit of chaos there. Possibly Aberdeen hitting New Waste maybe, but there's cars absolutely everywhere. Old Sim Racer with a flash of lights to possibly Langley. And they're all just scrambling for position. This allowed Taylor to just disappear into the distance. And they're all just squabbling for position right now. And Argent just on the back of them as well. Further back, everyone else is relatively spread out. Oh, that's Andrews in the wall. Smith has got a little bit of damage as well. A few of them already in the pits. Fandango, one of them as well. Dean Wasaki's dropped down the order with Bell. They've all pitted. And Johnson and Archer has not going. Oh, they're in the pit lane, sorry. And already Langley in the pits with Kneebone, Vitus, and now Argent as well. So all those guys coming in the pits. Taylor's in a weird position now. Possibly had a moment, but Gabino leading away, but he's being hunted down by Gary Klarbel in the Aston Martin. He is coming for him. And these two got the break they needed. Taylor, meanwhile, trying to hunt them down. Aberdeen has now lost out to Bolton, and Bolton goes through. And now it's Old Sim Racer trying to hunt down Wolfsky ahead of Nuclear Waste with Unsworth and then Lee. Langley has gone green. Where is the first of the cars? There is Richie. Has Richie managed to stay ahead of Langley? Yes, he has. So the undercut has already worked. Kneebone now trying to go wheel to wheel with a BMW of Saunders. So Saunders stays ahead of Kneebone, but he goes very deep into the hairpin, and Kneebone will get that position back, and through he goes. Meanwhile, he gap to the leaders, Gabino and Klarbel, already less than a second. It's 0.3 of a second as Gary Klarbel really has turned up the wick here for NLR Racing, trying to hunt down that Lamborghini of Gabino. Taylor, meanwhile, still minding his own business. Aberdeen looks like he's hit the back of Old Sim Racer, and around he goes, and they all come to a complete stop there. Betterson stops, as does... Oh, and more contact. That was Lee and Unsworth coming together. They've gone round Lee with fast lap of the race. Probably everyone's struggling for track limits. That's something to keep an eye on. But Richie, though, clearing the traffic. He's got Langley trying to hunt him down, and they're in the middle of all sorts of chaos. But Clarball, meanwhile, trying to catch Gabino, but Gabino has extended the gap. So what can Gary Clarball do? He's going to chase him down right to the end, I think. Possibly an undercut is on the cards, because it seems to be a little bit stronger as Richie is trying to pull a gap. He's got Marshall between him and Langley. And Langley looking very quick, looking very competitive, as we see there. Fandango going up the inside of Saunders. Saunders just trying to stick to the back of the Lexus, but can't quite able to do anything at the minute. The Lexus not the best car around this circuit, after myself and Harris discovered a couple of seasons ago. And Saunders there still on the back of him, with Argent currently ahead of Vitus. Vitus with not the best stop. There is Bell, Williams coming through, Andrews further back, as was Wasocki, Wheel, Craig, Johnson, and Archer still yet to make his stop. Langley now clears Storrock, and Alexa Marshall's hit the wall on pit entry, and that's not what you want to do. Old Sim Racer has decided to stop, and he's going to get jumped by the leaders. There they go through. So Richie, I think, has pulled a brilliant strategy here and has stayed ahead of Langley for the meantime. Meanwhile, Langley is on a mission to try and work his way through the order. Bolton, meanwhile, has got fastest lap of the race and is on the back bumper of Andrew Taylor. And can Bolton find a way through on Taylor? That is the question. Heading down to the left-hander, and Bolton looking close, and is better on the brakes is the Ferrari than the McLaren. But Taylor does get it stopped, and Bolton will have to think of something else a little bit later on. Meanwhile, Gary Clarball has brought the gap down back to Gabino, but Gabino seems to be trying to get back into a groove, into a rhythm here, and staying ahead of the Aston Martin driver. Now holding off that P5. Nuke Waste P6 ahead of Lee. Sorry, no, Nuke Waste has ended up dropping behind Lee, so Lee's made the position. Tucker P8, Best in P9, and P Williams in P10. Obviously done a drive-through. He's got DJ Phil just behind him as well. Another lapped car, but Langley now onto at the back of Richie, and Kneebone isn't a million miles away, so he can start to slowly creep onto the back of these guys. As Old Sim Racer is going wheel to wheel with Saunders, and just behind them is Argent and Vitus. They're going wheel to wheel as well. Vitus there looking up the inside of the first part of the Alpine section, but is Argent going to leave the door wide open? Oh, contact is made there. Vitus spins Argent round, and as everyone comes flooding through, Argent finally finds the gap and gets going. Meanwhile, Richie and Langley are going at it wheel to wheel. Langley's going to look up the inside, and there's nothing Richie can do. And a position gain there for Langley. And into the lead he goes. Coming up to the hairpin now. Can Langley hold off Richie? Yes, he will, up to the hairpin. And still yet the leaders to stop. Taking a longer, wider line through turn 2. He's got the momentum heading down into the S's. Langley just a little bit smoother through the S's through there, as Clarball meanwhile is up the inside of Gabino. And right now Gabino holds off that position. Kneebone has got a drive-through penalty already for track limits, and his race is already going backwards from here. So Kneebone just struggling for track limits here. And it has caught him out with only 5 minutes left of this session to go. Bolton, meanwhile, still fastest lap of the race to his name, using that clean air to his advantage. Meanwhile, we've got Best here, who's being passed by, I believe that is Craig, going up the inside of him. And Best has to compromise a little bit on his run there, as Richie's losing a little bit of time over to Langley, as Langley now starts to stretch his legs. Meanwhile, Old Sim Racer and Saunders still going at it wheel to wheel. But I think it looks like Saunders is going to try and hold off the best he can, but Old Sim Racer up the inside of the left-hander. Saunders tries to brake later, stay to the outside, and they will stay side by side for now. Can Vitus capitalise on this? He will look up the inside of Old Sim Racer. Possible door opening, maybe. Oh, there's a car stop. That's Archer there, just out of the way. And Old Sim Racer loses out to Saunders, but Vitus is right behind him. Meanwhile, Gabino, Bolton, Wolski and Taylor are all in the pits. I think Taylor's left his tyres on. As Langley comes out of the final corner, where is Gabino? Gabino has gone green. Has Bolton gone green? That is the question. No, he has not. He's not left the pits. He's side by side with Wolski on the exit there. So he's lost out massively, but Gabino holds on to the lead. Now, can Gary Klarbel use the overcut here? He's got John Andrews just ahead of him, so possible overcut here for Gary Klarbel. But Bolton, meanwhile, was in the middle of a fight between himself, Wolski, and then just behind him is the Lexus of Fandango. Taylor has now got going, but he's dropped right down the order. Oh, and Bolton has a moment there behind the back of Wolski. A bit of dirty air by the looks of things. But Fandango trying to sneak onto the back of the 77 now, track limits. And that is Kneebone and Saunders, both with track limits. So already the track limits is starting to hurt people. Richie now fastest lap of the race, but Langley out in front and in control of the pitters, trying to hunt down Gabino, who, may I correct myself, is the leading pitter. But Gary Klarbel is the interesting one. He's now coming to pit lane. We will see where he comes out regarding Gabino. And Saunders now attacking Old Sim Racer. Oh, and they make contact there. Leader is on the final back. Around the outside, Old Sim Racer still trying to hold on to that position, but Saunders will have to stop and do his drive through this lap, as will Kneebone. There's a car off in the final sector. That is, oh, Fandango's facing the wrong way. Oh, and Saunders ends up on the curb, bumps into the side of Old Sim Racer. Vitus now capitalise on that one. Benny Varga's not too far away on that. The downforce of the McLaren, but he's run out wide. Varga's up the inside now, and Varga will gain the advantage for Soldor Racing, but he can't quite get the run, so Vitus holds off. Kneebone in for his drive-through. Saunders now coming in for his drive-through. Gary Klarbel has gone green. There is Langley. Gabino's way out in front, and Klarbel pushes Langley out wide, but Langley's still on the inside of turn 2. But Klarbel holds off and stays in second place position for now. Lee has gone green as well. He then comes out of the pit lane, losing out to Aberdeen, who's down in 15. Betterson in that group as well. Flores as well. But poor Kneebone and Saunders. Track limits already has hurt them. Gabino, though, leading this one out ahead of Gary Klarbel, ahead of Langley, and Richie just behind them. All three of these guys batting it out for a final podium position here. Gary Klarbel goes very defensive in the hairpin. That's going to compromise his exit, and it has indeed. The Ferrari of Langley is right behind him, looking for an opportunity to get past the Aston Martin, but the Aston Martin, with a good straight line speed, is able to just stay ahead at the minute. And there's Richie just in the foreground and ahead into the left-hander. There's some lap traffic just ahead of him as Gabino has cleared this lot. I believe that is Storrock and Wheel going wheel to wheel. So it's Johnson and Wheel going wheel to wheel as Langley looks up the inside, tries to carry the speed around the outside of the last part of the Hockenheim section, but gets run wide. Langley did get the job done off circuit, so he might have to give that position back to Gary Klarbel, but he has to be careful he doesn't lose out to Richie, as they're all batting out for the final few positions. But poleman Gabino is going to come into the final corner and capitalise on a reverse grid race. Gabino takes the win for the Lamborghini. Congratulations to him. Gabino wins the first race. Gary Klarbel's going to lose out to Richie in the end as Langley takes second. Gary Klarbel will finish in fourth with Richie in third. Wolski will finish in fifth, just ahead of Bolton, with Fandango now exiting the final corner They're going to finish in that 7th place position. Old Sim Racer in 8th with Vitas, then Varga in 10th. Then it's going to be Lee rounding out, or starting off the bottom few, as he's in 11th. Aberdeen from Nuclear Waste. Betterson with the bronze win there. Flores in 15th. Tucker will take 2nd in the bronze group. Nebo in 17th in the end. Andrew Taylor 18th in the end. Best will get a podium. Finish in 19th for bronze. Unsworth 20th. Smith 21st. Williams 22nd. Saunders 23rd. As DJ Phil is now going to come out the final corner and finish in 24th position. Astora goes bouncing over the curb in 26th. They just lost out to Bell, bouncing over the curb. Williams in the end 27th. Argent in 28th, just ahead of Alexa Marshall in 29th. Dean Wasocki is going to finish in 30th place, ahead of Andrews, ahead of Craig, Johnson, Wheel, and then Archer rounding off the grid there. So definitely cranking out an entertaining race indeed. But Gabino taking the race win in the sprint race, capitalizing on that pole position, and a great job done by him. We'll be back in a few moments time as we will have the qualifying session underway and ready for the feature race. But in the meantime, have a look at our fantastic patrons, and a massive thank you to them, and then a quick highlight of the race as well. We'll be back in a few moments time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the stream. And we are underway, ready for the qualifying session as all the drivers now leave the pits and getting ready for the final run through COTA, as they will try to get themselves the best qualifying position as they possibly can. Championship tables has been updated, and it looks like this. And Langley leading the way with Fandango in second, Vitas in third, Flores P4, P5 is Varga, P6 is Wolski with Richie in P7, Unsworth P8, Kneebone in P9 with Lee P10, Old Sim Racer P11, Aberdeen 12th, Sam Greaves 13th with Bolton in 14th. 15th is Clarball with Taylor in that 16th place position, with Craig in 17th, 18th is now Gabino, 19th is Argent, and Saunders in 20th. Excuse me. Nuclear Waste in 21st, with Bell leading the bronze class in 22nd, Williams in 23rd, John Smith in second in the bronze class and 24th overall, Johnson in 25th, DeBonk in 26th, with Archer 27th, P. Williams in 28th, KLF 29th, with Goodwill 30th, Marshall in 31st, Best 32nd, DJ Phil 33rd, Dempsey 34th, Tucker in 35th, Betterson 36th, Wheel 37th, Starrock in 38th, Andrews in 39th, Roy in 40th, and Dean Wasaki in that final 4th place, 41st position. Regarding the teams, it is 4Q Motorsport still leading away, 31 points ahead of No Gas No Glory in second, with NRL Racing in P3, Cloud9 Racing in P4, with Greasy Bandit sat in P5, Team Audio Sport in P6, with SimPlay Racing in P7, OWR Racing in P8, Soldal Racing in P9, Team Murloc in P10, with Black and Blue Racing in 11th, Lexi's Industry in 12th, with 2Cs Racing 13th, 14th is Team GBR with Rapid Rabbits in GT in 15th place position, 16th is Team BSR, and 17th is Quantum Motorsport, OGR in 18th, and Wasaki Racing in 19th place position. As we are now into the qualifying session, we look to Smith, who's towards the front of the grid, but it is Bolton who is going to be the first to put a lap time on the board if he keeps it within track limits. Obviously that's going to be the challenge for this session, trying to keep it within track limits. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do hear my fan in the background, then please let me know, and I will turn it off, because it is still a bit warm here in the UK, and just struggling here in the comms box to try and cool off as best I possibly can. So guys, get your predictions in the chat, who you think is going to take pole position. Langley looking very, very good in the earlier session, so we'll see how he gets on. Bolton though also looking relatively fast. Richie's looking quick in the Lamborghini as well. So let's hear you guys in the chat. As they're now heading down towards the back straight, and Bolton, for me, it's going to be important to get that lap time on the board. If you do not get the lap time on the board, then you really are going to struggle to really get your race underway for the final time, because there's going to be a lot of overtaking that you'll need doing, and a lot of cars to get through at the same time. But here is Bolton coming through the final sector now, trying to get a good run through the tricky right-hander. And now towards the penultimate corner. Let's see what lap time Bolton is going to produce here for the qualifying session, with only 5.5 minutes left to go of this session. Now is important to put a lap time on the board. Bolton does a 2:08.1 as Smith now comes to the line. My predictions are 7 drive-throughs, says Skunky in the chat, as Richie goes into P2, Bell into P3, Craig now P4, as the lap time's coming in thick and fast. Aberdeen was 5th in the end, and looks like Varga now goes into P2. A good lap time on the board. Langley just behind the Lexus there and goes into P3, drops behind because Fandango possibly holding him up there, but Langley moves to one side I'll put a 50 on it. I'll tell you what, I see your 50, Skunky. Does it have to be bang on 7? Because I think so I'm going to say 5 for this. I have good hope in these guys. Argent in the end taking P10 after that lap. Marshall only in P14 at the minute as Gabino now comes out of the pits. Williams is in the middle sector as the Pete Williams only goes P15 as Andrews doesn't get a lap time on the board. That is Best now coming to the line. Tips is going for 10 plus. Best goes over to 14th. I believe Old Sim Racer just crossed the line. He goes for 11th as well. Okay, I'll take you a 50 then. I'll go for 5. You're going to go for 7, and Tips reckons 10 plus. So we got our bets in, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how many will actually happen. It's coming to the end of the qualifying session. Not long left as we've got Nuclear Waste now coming to the line, as is Williams as well. Nuclear Waste does not get a lap time on the board. Williams does. He only goes 11th with that one, but there is always time to be found here. If you want exact, I'm going to predict 11, says Tips in the chat. My next one is in how many drive-throughs are going to appear in the Pro. That's my next question. But we'll get to that one towards the end of the stream. And Bolton now goes a 2:07.7. Can anyone get near that? That's a good lap time from himself there as Best crosses the line to go 11th. Smith, sorry, crosses the line to go to 11th. Richie doesn't improve there. He stays where he is. Langley is out on an outlap as Varga now gives him space. 5 against 7, you're on, says Skunky. If anyone else wants to get themselves in the bookies here, they're more than welcome to. Fandango crosses the line, goes only 9th in the Lexus. 5, 7 and 11. What odds by the looks of it, not fancying an even number. As Wolfski crosses line, he goes now into P5 position. Taylor now improves as well to go to 7th. And here comes Argent as well in the foreground. He goes 6th now. So that lap time set by Bolton is a very good one at that. And Langley is now getting himself prepped and ready to set a lap as Vitas now comes to the line. And he goes P8 with that one. Gabino, meanwhile, I don't think he's put a lap time on the board. No, he has not. So he's still yet to put a lap time on the board. And he'll soon want to get one in ASAP. The 63, that is Old Sim Racing now exiting the final corner. No improvement, nor did Best. Will Andrews. Andrews doesn't get a lap time on the board. So the 53, that is DJ Phil. He's coming into the final sector. Who's he got ahead of him? He's got Wheel ahead of him. As Wheel now comes into the final corner. Does he get a lap time on the board? No, he doesn't. DJ Phil doesn't improve either. So now we've got Williams in 16th place. Can he improve? He goes to P10. A much better improvement for him there. And Nuclear Waste now coming to the line, I believe, is next to cross it. He did, but didn't improve on his lap. Or was that P. Williams? P. Williams in the pits at this stage. Nuclear Waste did not get a lap time on the board. So at the 777 of Bolton coming to the line. And he will now start his final qualifying session here. Not many laps they got underneath him here. They only got about 3 laps by the looks of things. 3 fast laps anyway. As Richie now goes into P2. And we see Bell in the foreground. He does not improve. He stays where he is for the minute. As I believe that was Clarball. He finally has a lap time on the board. Goes 5th. A few other positions being improved there. Not sure who it was, but we are on board with Lee, who's coming into the final corner now. I think it was Benedict Varga. Yeah, he went to P2 in the end with that lap time. So here comes Lee. Any improvement? He goes to 13th. Wolfski does improve as well. He goes to 5th. Now we've got Taylor coming to the line. No improvement. He will get one more lap. Argent, does he improve? No improvement for Argent either. So who's in the foreground? That is a BMW of some form. I believe it is Dean Wasaki. It is no lap time on the board for him. Vitas now crosses the line and he goes P8. So Vitas just struggling at the minute as Langley crosses the line, gets within a 10th of Bolton, but not enough. Gabino now still no lap time on the board, so he has to get this one on the board. This is it. Last laps for everyone coming into the final sector. Who's that to cross the line first? That is old Sim Racer, and it's only 11th for him. Best in the end does improve and goes to P22 in the corner, final corner. Now there is the John Andrews car. In the end, does he get a lap time on the board? He does. Who's now coming into the final few corners. That is DJ Phil by the looks of things coming to the line. In the end, only P23. I think that is possibly, it's tricky to stay on top. Nuclear Waste does cross the line and goes into 17th place position. Lexi, in the end, does improve to go to 24th. I believe that's Bolton coming to the line. Has he extended his gap? No, he has not. He stays where he is for now, the 181. That is Gary Carble. And is there going to be any more improvement from the Aston Martin driver? Into the final corner, currently 6th, near enough a second off the pace. Can he find that time? No, he cannot. He stays where he is. Now we've got Benedict Varga. He's only a couple of tenths off. Has he found a magical time? No, he hasn't. He stays P3. Now we got Vandango. Any improvement? Only 17th for that one. Wolfsky now, P5. Any improvement? He goes to P4 now. So lap times are improving ever so slowly. Taylor now to the line. He goes to 13th. Can Argent improve? No, he cannot. So we're down to Langley. And I believe also Gabino just ahead. Yes, it is. Will Gabino finally get a lap time on the board? There is Vites. He goes P7, goes Vites. Gabino gets a lap time on the board. And Langley, right at the end there, steals pole position away from Bolton. It is an all-Ferrari front row, though, with Langley taking pole position. I believe this is his home race, with Laguna Seca being on that one as well. But Langley taking the win there, and a brilliant job from him. Congrats to him. And now the poll that goes up, that's going for the feature race winner. But more importantly, how many drivers will get a drive-through? So guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. It is going to be an interesting race. Really hot temperatures, not just in real world, but on the circuit as well. What do drivers do? Do they take tyres? Do they not? Do they try and hang it out? Do they go full fuel, or do they go half and half? This is the question. And I believe some of the pro drivers will also be possibly watching over and seeing what the Pro-Ams do, just to get an idea of where they stand. So there's the poll for your feature race winner. Get your votes in on who you think. If you don't agree with any of the ones above, then feel free to drop it in the chat. But also, more importantly, how many drive-throughs are we going to get? Skunky's going for 7. I've gone for 5. I have hope in the Pro-Ams. But Tips, on the other hand, has gone for 11. So shows how much Tips is backing them up. So like I said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And we are looking forward to this one indeed. Make sure also, while you're at it, have a look into the description as well to our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Fantastic sponsors as well that always supported our channel from the very beginning. And it's great to have those guys on board. And also, just a reminder as well, tomorrow night will be the pros on circuit tonight. How are they going to take to the conditions here? From what I've seen, the thunderstorms are going to miss the pro category. They are coming in late, and I think the pro drivers will just miss the bad weather. Lucky pros once again. Tips has faith in track limits. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's worse track. I don't know what's the worst track limits. I think Here's pretty bad. I've learned to accept these because you can be a bit cheeky, and honestly, the white line is the limits. But when I was testing Hungaroring, there's pretty nasty ones there that's really dumb. Especially the fast right hand. There's a couple of horrible track limits, but this one definitely is up there with the worst. But we'll see how these guys will get on with the track limits and how many people will end up having a drive-through. We are never going to get a wet race. Skunky, you say that in a way that you want a wet race, I'm assuming. I mean, I would love a wet race. I love the wet conditions, and it definitely puts a level playing field to the racing for sure. So a long formation lap here. So as the guys get themselves ready to go, we'll have a run through of the grid order. As Langley on pole position ahead of Bolton in second, Varga in third, Wolfsky in that P4 position, and it's Ritchie P5, Klarbel P6, Vitas in P7, Saunders in P8, of Unsworth in P9, then it's Argent P10. With 11 going away of Old Sim Racer, Flores in 12, Taylor in 13th, Bell in that 14th place position, Lee in 15th with Gabino in 16th. 17th is Williams, Fandango in the Lexus struggling in 18th place position, Nuclear Waste in 19th, Aberdeen 20th, Craig in 21st, Smith in 22nd, Lee second driver in the bronze with Tucker in 23rd, Best in 24th with Marshall in 25th, DJ Phil 26th, 27th is Archer, Wheel 28th, John Andrews 29th, Williams in 30th, Nebo in 31st, Wasocki 32nd, Johnson 33rd, 34th is Stark, and Betterson rounding off the grid. Skunky in the chat would be nice, mix things up. Tips in the chat, I'd love a wet race. Tips, why do we have a crown next to our name? I believe it's because you guys are either been here the longest or been chatting the most, and that's your ranking at the minute. Obviously we're now 1,000 subscribers in, so thank you once again all for liking and subscribing, and I believe that's the ranking you get for watching the stream. So Tips is leading while Skunky is in third, obviously royalty. As now the two Ferraris of Langley and Bolton come into the final corner, and we're about to go racing here for the final time for the Pro-Ams. It is Langley versus Bolton, Ferrari versus Ferrari. Who's going to come out on top here in America at Texas, as we now wait for the green light. We are underway here in COTA, and looks like Langley did get the jump. The two BMWs meanwhile behind, looking to capitalise as best they can, but Bolton not going to get into turn one to give Langley a hard time, as Varga does clip the curb a bit, and Bolton does bounce over the curb a little bit, as I think that was Nuclear Waste, or probably Williams, I think, being spun round by Tucker, but he manages to get going, but everyone else relatively clean through there, as we now heading to the S's, and there is Smith just struggling going through the S's at the minute, and I believe that's Best. Oh, that's Gary Klarbel faced the wrong way, so something has happened to him as they all head down there. Oh, no one's been able to avoid to miss him, but everyone else managing to work their way through the S's, as Gary Klarbel has dropped to the pits now, but it is now Langley leading away from Bolton, and Gary Klarbel has returned to pit lane, as we will now change the camera so we can see Benedict Varga now capitalising on that, as Wolski's in P5, Ritchie P6, Vitas P8, and Argent now into the top 10, as Andrews just struggling at the minute as he's being swamped by the pack. Or Smith there, Williams, sorry, in the background just has a little moment behind Gabino, and everyone else just trying to fall into position further back, as Nebo trying to work his way out of the bronze category and work his way into the silvers. Oh, and Unsworth nearly hitting the back of Argent, does a brilliant job of getting out of that and avoiding contact. And everyone else just trying to fall in position. Fandango up the inside of Taylor there, job done, but Taylor gets a little bit disturbed by the dirty air and just struggles to stick with the Lexus. But Langley pulling away from Bolton, ahead of Varga, ahead of Wolski, and Ritchie now trying to go with him. as the BMW's now making a little sandwich with the Lamborghini in between them. And Vitas just behind after a strong Zandvoort. He's struggling here at COTA, and looks like Unsworth allows old Sim Racer through. Fandango now looking to capitalise on the inside of Unsworth. Unsworth goes a little bit deep, and Fandango will go up the inside. The job done for him, and using that Lexus straight line speed, he'll try and put away Taylor, capitalise on that, and now we've got Gabino attacking Unsworth as well, looking to go around the outside of turn number 1, and he's going to go around there as best he can, and job done, I think, for Gabino. But Unsworth's going to keep it wheel to wheel. They're going to stay side by side, and Gabino not able to capitalise then, has to fall back into place. Still a cleaner turn 1 than the sprint. 100% says Mac in the chat. Indeed it was. Langley though pulling away from Bolton as Varga is trying to go with him. Wolski has got Ritchie for company. Saunders ahead of Vitas and Argent working their way through the order. Old Sim Racer now attacking Lee right on the back bumper of Lee. Now Old Sim Racer darts to the inside but makes contact with Bell as he goes through, and Bell goes all the way around Taylor, tries to avoid him. Bell right in the middle of everyone continues and waits, and he makes more contact with Smith as Bell's trying to get going. He has to wait now until it's completely clear. He is in the middle of the circuit, but he has managed to stop making contact with other cars, so less damage for himself there. But Varga meanwhile trying to hunt down Bolton while they're all allowing Langley to just disappear into the distance. Gabino there in the end losing out to Williams. Williams setting fastest lap of the race, and that means he was the only driver to actually set a valid lap. So already that could be showing some interest of how many track limits some drivers are on already. So keep an eye on that one. But Langley now coming into the final quarter, as the pit window will open in a few moments time. Langley though trying to extend the gap as best he can. There is fast lap, so he's got one on the board. Varga looking to hunt them down. Meanwhile Ritchie really looking interested onto the batter of Wolski. The Lamborghini just struggles in a straight line compared to the BMW, so Wolski will pull away in the tight twisty sub. He should struggle compared to the Lamborghini, but look there, Ritchie had a great exit out of the hairpin and in the end couldn't do anything with it, and now he can't find a way through. He's looking left, he's looking right into the S's. It's not the easiest place to overtake, and he's just struggling to find a way through. As Ritchie has to just fall in line.
The pit is now open.
Pit window has now opened, so people can now get their pit stops done out of the way. Anyone into the pits not at the minute. Meanwhile there's all sorts of carnage going on further back. I believe this is Tucker trying to work his way through the order. There's Archer just having a little bit of a moment. Goes wide, and there also Alexa Marshall, who loses the rear of the car, and around she goes. Meanwhile Smith is trying to chase down Best, who is the leading bronze driver at the minute. He's having a good little race at the minute. Meanwhile Varga has caught onto the back of Bolton, and Langley has bolted off in the distance. Ritchie's trying to stick with Wolski, can't find a way through at this stage. Is Varga waiting for an opportunity to get back past the Ferrari? Everyone else kind of just follow the leader at the minute. Williams now onto the back of Taylor. Kneebone has now cleared all of the bronze category. Smith and Best are going at it for best bronze driver at the minute. You see here Bell and Andrews going wheel to wheel, and Bell get the job done. Varga back onto the back of Bolton once again, and Ritchie can't seem to do anything to the BMW of Wolski, and Vitas is now hunting down Saunders, so loads of fight happening up and down the order. Fandango now onto the back of Lee. We've got this Lamborghini fight between Gabino and Williams. You see here Williams now trying to get onto the back of Taylor, but try not to lose out to Gabino, We will possibly have a look into turn number 1. He's not quite close enough. Taylor brakes a little bit earlier. Possibly caught out Williams a little bit. There's Lee in the wall. So Lee reversing straight into the middle of the circuit there. Right into the middle of traffic. That was a very dangerous, unsafe rejoin from him. And nearly caught in a multiple car collision there as Taylor just losing a little bit of momentum here to the Lamborghinis behind him. Varga, meanwhile, just dropped back off the back of Bolton. What other fights are going on at the minute? Well, Lee's got going again, but he's had another moment. And he's got Tucker right behind him, looking to work his way through. He's got Betson, Archer, and Aberdeen all there as well. As Gary Carball has come back out. Oh, there's a car facing the wrong way again. Who is that? I think that's possibly... It's Lee. So Lee's obviously cooked those tyres. And can't get back on track. Meanwhile, Vitas is still attacking Saunders. That got down to 2/10 for a moment. The guys at the front just seem to be following one another at the minute. Gabino's dropped off the back of Williams, and Williams just sat on the back of Taylor at the minute. They're slowly working onto the back of the Ferrari of Unsworth. So they're kind of working together to get closer to the Ferrari. But Bolton at the minute not got the speed to stick with Langley, who's pulling away, as Varga having a much better race here, looking strong here. And I bet he's looking forward to going back to his home race a little bit later on in the season, the Hungaroring, the home race for Benedict Varga. We'll see how he gets on there. Meanwhile, Vitas right under the rear wing of Saunders here as they head up towards turn number 1. And Vitas not able to get close enough to have a lunge. Saunders just keeping that car exactly where it needs to be. You can defend relatively well around here. You need a good advantage to try and find your way through. But Bolton, Varga, Wolski and Ritchie all close to one another. Ooh, as they all just slide through there. And the more they slide, the more it's going to kill the tyres. More a tyre change is looking favourable. Meanwhile, Kneebone is on the move. He's on the back of Craig. Two McLarens going at it. Oh, Smith, meanwhile, is trying to race best. They've got Williams just behind them as well. So, best trying to do his very best to stay ahead of the group behind him. He's doing a good job at the minute, just keeping it clean, keeping it on circuit, not making any silly mistakes. He's just holding off Smith for the meantime. Meanwhile, Vitas is still trying to find a way back on Saunders, but can't find a way through at this stage. This four just seemed to have spread out a little bit, just seemed to get into a rhythm. Now we've got the two Lamborghinis going at it. That is Williams and Gabino. And Gabino is going to look to the outside of Williams. Williams will have to defend the inside of the left-hander. Gabino trying to be later on the brakes, has run and he's got the job done. And Williams, great driving there to allow racing room for him, because it looked like Gabino was not quite in full control of his car, but he had got the job done and through he goes. Next behind him is his teammate of Kneebone, who has cleared Craig. So I wonder if team orders are going to come into effect there, as Bolton still just holding off the guys behind. Vitas is on the back of Saunders, as Saunders has now gone wide in the penultimate corner. That's opened the door for Vitas to go up the inside. Saunders has a little slide, which allows Vitas to get through, but Saunders straight away into the toe, which is going to give him a better straight line, especially with the BMW power. Saunders now looking to go around the outside as he got the job done. He's onto the curb. They're going side by side. Vitas will just hang on to that position. Good racing between those two. Good awareness and allowing each other to race fairly. Meanwhile, Unsworth is under pressure from Taylor, which soon will be the Lamborghini mob coming after them. The Italian Mafia looking to sandwich the McLaren at the minute. Gabino having a great run through the S's, has instead put Taylor under pressure. Williams going a little bit wide there, but Taylor now looking looking more in his mirrors than he is in front, and Dimasoki's pulled over to the side. That's Unsworth now more in defensive mode. Taylor looks to the inside of the hairpin. He gets a little bit close. Can't quite get the job done. We'll go on board with Gabino. You can see there in the tow is Taylor and Unsworth. Heading down to the left-hander. And you can see there, Unsworth just holds on to the position and Taylor can't quite get the job done. Joining onto the scene now is Kneebone. So we've got a 5-way fight for the 10th place position, the final top 10 position. It's all ready to go. Williams looks up the inside momentarily on Gabino, but Williams allowing Kneebone through there. So a bit of team play there. Possibly Kneebone is going to be a bit more of a muscle for these guys, and Williams hopefully try and capitalise on his way through as they work together to work their way through the order. Craig just about to join the back of this group. Meanwhile, Argent has got ahead of Vitas and Saunders here. So possible more contact between Vitas and Saunders, because they've actually ended up behind Argent now, and Richie is going side by side with Wolski. Wolski up the inside. So Richie losing out here to the BMW as they go wheel to wheel, and they just about get through the S's. Varga's now back on the attack on Bolton. So all of a sudden cars are now racing one another. Guys, you've still got an hour left to go of racing. Oh, Argent's off. Argent is off. He's spinning into the Maggotts and Beckett section. He has got going now. How many places is he going to drop down? He drops behind his teammate. And I think he'll just about pop through there. Yes, he does. He's in an awkward position. Kneebone works his way through as Williams tries to go through as well, but not able to do so, as Argent, really hot tyres now, is going to be struggling for grip and traction, and he's going to have to give up the position to Williams. And through goes Williams. Here comes Craig as well. So Argent just struggling with tyre life now by the looks of things. Overheat the tyres, and through the inside possibly comes Craig. It's really tricky now for Argent to kind of get back into a rhythm. But everyone there gaining position, as Unsworth and Taylor have pulled away from Gabino and Kneebone. Kneebone slowly working his way up the order. And once again, Wolski and Richie close to one another as Varga continues to try and hunt down Bolton, but can't get near him as Langley extends the gap to nearly 5 seconds out in front. What else is happening up and down the order? Best is relatively clear of the rest of the bronze driver. Where is Smith? There he is. It's Fandango in P8 ahead of this fight between Unsworth and Taylor for the top 10 position. Gabino trying to go with them. Argent looking to get past Williams. And there we got Best and Old Sim Racer fighting it out for 17th and 18th. Best, like I said, leading bronze driver at this minute. Smith's trying to hunt him down. Other fights we've got going on. Lee's pulled away from Tucker. Oh, big damage to the front of Johnson's car. Wheels got damage to his car as well, as DJ Phil has done a stop, as has Dean Wasocki, who's gone off and has got damage to his car once again. Williams now pulling away from Argent, possibly cooked those tyres. So Argent probably looking at a tyre stop there, as there's a car off. That is Dean Wasocki, who's trying to stay out of the way. Meanwhile, Bolton and Varga are going wheel to wheel. Varga looking to try and get the swoop and undercut underneath him, but Bolton defends it, but leaves the door wide open for the exit. And that will give the straight line advantage to the BMW. They go side by side, and Bolton goes straight into the tow. And Varga does not want to give him the tow. They head to the left-hander. Can Bolton brake later than Varga? Oh, he gets close to the back of him and he can't quite find a way through into the tricky section of the Hockenheim corners, and Bolton's up the inside, but the rear gets loose. He's on the outside for the next corner, and Varga holds on to the position. But once again, they switch underneath one another. Meanwhile, just in the background, Richie is pulling away from Wolfski. And Bolton, in the end, losing out to Varga. But can Varga just hold on as they now come towards the final few corners? Bolton looking to the inside of the final corner, thinks about it, but is not quite close enough to do so. Nebo, meanwhile, is on the back, and Argent's off again, big time. Doesn't look like he had damage for a moment, but he doesn't, and manages to get going. Nebo, meanwhile, is giving Gabino a bit of a hard time. As Saunders now pits. That's an interesting call. As Saunders possibly got damage, possibly so. As Fandango on his own at the minute, no one really bothering him. Comfortable in that P7 position. Vitas in P6 now. Wolski P5. And Bolton now just losing out to Varga. Or his knee bone goes up the inside of Gabino there. And Gabino has to yield to the quicker McLaren. Gabino works his way through the S's. Oh, and Williams has gone round as he kept it out of the wall. He gives it a slight kiss onto the side. He has managed to keep it going now. Craig goes through, as will Flores, as will Argent. I think this whole gaggle of cars will get through on him as well. Has he got going? Yes, he has. He drops behind Best, I think, in the end. So he ends up behind Nuclear Waste after all that. So he ends up in 18th place position, but still recoverable. A little mistake there, and that's just put him a little bit further back in the order. Meanwhile, Bolton just not able to go with Benny Varga at the minute, and just has to hold on and possibly hope for something to happen a little bit later on. Meanwhile, Nuke Waste is under pressure from Williams after recovering. He has to be careful with the tyres, just nurse him in a little bit after they've had a hot cycle as they've been spinning around. And here comes Williams. Wheel to wheel with the McLaren. Going to get the job done in the left-hander later on the brakes, and job done indeed. That's a position regained. And he'll start to slowly work his way back up the order as Nuclear Waste does think to come back at him for a moment, but is unable to do so. Apologies for the sniffs, guys. Suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody just felt a bit rough. So, lovely. Meanwhile, Unsworth under some immense pressure from Taylor, who's pretty much pushing him up towards the hairpin. And he looks to the outside, goes Taylor. Can't get the job done. He goes for the undercut, tries to swoop underneath. But again, Unsworth is just in the right place at the right time. But Taylor has got the momentum to go around. Are they going to go wheel to wheel into the S's? This is going to be tight, and contact was made. It was guaranteed to be made, and Kneebone might capitalise as Unsworth goes through. Kneebone can't find a way through there, as Gabino also going to be onto the back of these guys. But Taylor, contact with Unsworth. Gabino also just trying to get with these guys. Meanwhile, Williams still under pressure from Nuclear Waste, even though he's passed him through the final sector. Nuclear Waste just having a bit of a bad moment through the S's, as now Williams tries to hunt down Best, who's having a very good COTA here, currently in 16th place position. Some good points for him. Meanwhile, Williams under pressure from Bell, and he's stuck behind Benny Archer at the minute as well. We've got Lee trying to find a way past on Smith, but the back end of that McLaren just sliding a little bit too much. And that is your running order at the minute. So, Langley leading the way with quite a healthy gap of 7.3 seconds ahead of Varga in second. Bolton in third. He's not giving up the fight yet to Varga. He's going to try and hunt him down. Then you got Ritchie versus Wolski. They got their own little squabble going on at the minute for fourth and fifth. They got a comfortable lead over Vitas in P6. P7 on his own. Fandango in that seventh place position. Then you got this big fight between Unsworth, Taylor, Kneebone and Gabino, all for 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th place position, and Unsworth doing the best he possibly can to keep them all behind, and Taylor can't find a way through. Kneebone possibly looking to make a move around the outside, but not quite close enough. Once again, Unsworth goes a little bit wide out of the hairpin. The Ferrari grunt saves the McLaren, but Taylor's now finally going to look to the inside of the hairpin. Too much moving around has not given him the momentum. And Kneebone going to do the up and under. Yes, he is, as they go 3 wide, going down into turn 2. Great racing here in Unsworth, and Taylor losing out to Kneebone, who goes right round the pair of them. Brilliant driving there by Kneebone, and Taylor gets ahead of Unsworth. Unsworth has a slide, which then puts Gabino into pressure, but Gabino has his own slide as well, and he loses out. Flores trying to hunt down Craig, as he's been, Archer's been hunted down by old sim racers. Williams has cleared best, and Nicola Waste dropping down the order as well, but a brilliant move there from Kneebone. Genius to up and under the pair of them, and Unsworth is going to look back up the inside of Taylor. Can't get the job done. That is DJ Phil gone off wide by the looks of things. And here comes Gabino up the inside of Unsworth. The Ferrari should have the legs on the Lamborghini. Once again, not the strongest car in a straight line is the Lambo. Excuse me. But Gabino's going to look down the inside, makes the brakes, but makes contact with Taylor, makes contact with Unsworth. And Unsworth would just get the position back. Gabino just a little bit too late on the brakes, and contact was made. What else is happening further back? Argent ahead of old sim racer. Williams ahead of Best. The rest of the fights are all fairly even as start now onto the back of Benny Archer. Work their way through the first couple of corners, or the first couple of moments of this race. Start down the inside of Benny Archer. DJ Phil is just trying to stay well out of the way. Benny Archer losing that position there. Meanwhile, Bolton's got a little bit closer to Varga once again. And obviously the dirty air is the only thing that they've got to worry about. It's obviously going to affect the car behind. It's really going to hurt the tyres, causing the car to slide more. Ritchie's now pulled away a little bit from Wolski, and Wolski now falling into the clutches of Vitus here. So Vitus looking to hunt down the BMW driver. As Craig has lost out to Flores, who's got through. Old Sim Racer has also got through on Argent. As now Williams tries to hunt down Argent. So the rest of them are in order. As Bell comes into the pits, as does Storrock. And the 53 has been disqualified. That is DJ Phil for driving the wrong way. That's impressive that he's managed to do that. So DJ Phil being disqualified from the race. And we have this titanic fight still between these three. Taylor, Unsworth and Gabino. I think this is going to go on for pretty much the majority of the race, as Kneebone has dropped them quite significantly. Can't do anything about Fandango at the minute, who's then quite a bit away from Vitus. So Kneebone with a big recovery drive. He's trying to work his way up the order. Oh, Gabino nearly hits the back of Unsworth, just missing his brakes ever so slightly, and nearly makes contact with the Ferrari. Move further back, there is Williams has dropped down again. So Williams made another mistake. He dropped back behind Waste. Aberdeen again, so he's got a lot of work to do. And Aberdeen goes a little bit wide. Mac in the chat, great battles through the field. Don't know how you keep up. Nice work. Thank you very much, Mac. And to be honest, mate, I don't know either. I'm just constantly having a look at the Delta to see who is close, who is not, and the best way to look. And there we go. There's an opportunity, and that is Vitus up the inside of Wolski. So Wolski now just seems to be struggling in this BMW, and also Bolton has lost time majorly to Varga and is falling into the clutches of Ritchie. So possibly races changing here as we see Kneebone going around the outside of Bell, as Taylor pulling away from Unsworth as he's got Gabino breathing down his neck. And then we've got this best fight. We've got 4 cars sitting behind Best. We've got Nuclear Waste, Aberdeen, Smith, and Williams. All trying to find an opportunity to get past Best. Ian Best, though, has the right to fight. He's racing for position here. Doesn't matter in class. 3 cars too busy racing one another before they even think about trying to get the bronze driver. A good defensive drive for the minute for Best. He's holding them off at the minute. Wolski tries to get back onto terms with Vitas, but here we go. Old Unsworth once again under pressure from Gabino. Gabino looking for a way through, but can't find it at the minute. Has to fall back into place. Meanwhile, Williams is on the back of Aberdeen, and we know how good that Audi is in a straight line. You can see here, Best trying his very best to stay ahead of these 3 at the minute, and Nuclear Waste look to the inside. Going to get the job done on Ian Best. He's going to try and get as close as he can, but Best gets the car stopped. The rest of them just fall into line as Williams looking for an opportunity around Aberdeen. But at the moment, Williams can't seem to capitalise on any mistakes here from these guys. Nice to see a nice healthy grid here in the Pro-Ams. 35 cars on track, or 34. Sadly, DJ Phil has been disqualified. Once again, Unsworth having to defend from Gabino. Richie's pitted, so that's an interesting call. Richie has come to make his stop, and he's gone green as well, so he hasn't had a lot of fuel put on board either. So we'll see how that all works out. But Gabino now looking more and more racing once again. Taylor is trying to clear Bell, who is a lap down. Best once again doing his best to keep Nuclear Waste behind. Go on board with Best as it goes through the S's. You see there, Nuclear Waste just a little bit more confident on the brakes going into the S's. Best though keeping it tight, keeping it clean. That's exactly what he wants to do. Aberdeen meanwhile still got the Lamborghini of Williams trying to hunt him down. Nuclear Waste had a sniff opportunity just now, but Best able to cover them off, and to be fair, they're not a million miles away from Argent, who's just up the road. So they're all just slowly creeping onto the back of Argent. And once again, I think Gabino has finally got the job done on Unsworth. Sadly, we missed that. And while that's all been going on, they've been getting closer to Taylor as well. And Taylor's still been racing Bell a little bit here. Bell has been racing Taylor a little bit. Not much, I don't think. But either way, Taylor trying to pull away, but he can't do so at the minute. Meanwhile, Nebo trying to catch Fandango. The gap is 4.8 at this stage. We'll see how that gap comes down. But Gabino goes a little bit wide. That gives Unsworth a run. He'll be on the outside of penultimate corner. But Gabino will hold on to position. Good driving there from them. Nuclear Waste now looking to the inside of Best. Oh, contact's made. Best holds on to the car brilliantly. And Nuclear Waste doesn't lose a position, but Williams might gain on Aberdeen around the outside of the right-hander. Tries to come underneath, but has to hit the brakes because Aberdeen turns in. Or Aberdeen has a snap. And Williams looks to the outside himself. Lee's now joined back on the party as well. And quite can't get the job done, can Williams there. So he has to fall back into position. Meanwhile, Lee just behind them. Like I said, while this is all going on, even though they've been squabbling, they've been catching Argent slowly, bit by bit in front. Unsworth, meanwhile, still on the back of Gabino as they're clearing some lap traffic. Richie, in the end, dropped out in a little bit of an awkward position. He's in somewhat clean air, but he's got this titanic fight behind Best in 15th. So He's going to catch that pack relatively quickly. When Lee has a moment, he has a slide, he loses momentum on a 2 in front. He's not able to capitalize on any errors ahead of him. For a minute, then gets a little bit closer to the back of Aberdeen. And for a minute, they all spread out, have their own little battles, and then they concertina back up as Best tries his best to defend from nuclear waste. Is Williams going to send it into the hairpin? Yes, he is. Up the inside he goes. He goes a little bit too deep though, and Aberdeen gets the position. Sadly for Williams, still learning the car, still learning the game and how we all run here, but he is slowly getting there bit by bit. But every battle he has, every race he does, he'll be learning as Vitas now also pits. So an interesting call from him. Varga, meanwhile, has been slowly but surely bringing the gap down to Langley. So Langley possibly not having it as easy as he thinks. Can Varga at this stage do a little bit of nursing, save some fuel if he's already full fueled it, and get the tyres home? Because he could save himself a lot of time here. Gabino now pulling away from Unsworth. And yeah, he is, as Taylor comes into the pits. Flores goes through, and I think that is Craig going up the inside of John Andrews, and through goes Old Sim Racer as well. And Williams now has got the pitted Ritchie. So I think Williams has now decided to pit himself. Into the pits he comes, and Ritchie will gain a position there. So now the problem he's going to have, he's got to try and clear some cars ahead of him. And now Old Sim Racer is pressurising Craig. As Best also pits as well. That's an interesting call. So Best has come into the pits. That's now free Nuclear Waste and Aberdeen, who's got still a lead, giving him a bit of a hard time behind. So see how that all pans out. Through the S's they go, and Lee just losing a little bit of time to the Audi driver. Everywhere else is just a little bit spread out, as Craig now under pressure from Old Sim Racer. Looking to capitalise and try and get into that top 10 position. Cars haven't hit it around them, so they will drop back down the order eventually, unless they've got a clever strategy that they pull out the bag. Through the 94, a stop and go penalty for Williams for speeding in the pit lane. Such a shame. Another mistake there from him. Pit lanes do catch people out relatively easy, and it's caught Williams out, I'm afraid. Craig then just putting away from Olsen Racing. He stays out. We go into the final corner. Once again, Lee getting onto the back of Aberdeen. He's actually been passed by Ritchie, and Ritchie staying ahead of Vitas at the minute. So Unsworth now choosing to pit. Varga's gap has gone and grown again, so he's actually losing time to Langley now. So Langley back into a groove by the looks of things. As we've just gone past halfway through this race, the majority of you reckon that Bolton is going to win this race. I don't think that's going to happen, I'm afraid, as Aberdeen still racing Ritchie by the looks of things. But Ritchie gets the job done, and moving on through he goes. Oh, and Lee has a moment. The rear end stepped around on him. He's going to make contact with Vitas. No, Vitas manages to avoid that and stay out of the way of the McLaren. And Lee ended up dropping behind Vitas once again. Oh, and Aberdeen's had a moment. He's had a spin himself. So he's gone round and has dropped down the order once again. As Best ends up coming back out of the pits. He's ahead that Wolski? That is Wolski who's coming into the pits, and Williams comes to do his stop and go. So Best is ahead of Argent as well. So Best has jumped Argent in the stops. So good job there from Best, jumping a couple of cars there. As Smith now comes out of the pits. This is the fight for your bronze positions, and Best is ahead of Smith. Williams just behind them as well, so he's going to be intrigued to try and clear these cars as well. But your leading pitter at the minute is Ritchie, but Langley has come into the pits, as has Wolski, Kneebone and Cabino. That tells me a lot of those guys were on low fuel for this one. The question is, do they take tyres? Will the tyres make it to the end? As Langley has gone green, Wolski has gone green. Will Kneebone go green as well? Langley has returned back on track. As Nuclear Waste going a little bit wide there. I think. Yeah, Ritchie's going to be close with Wolski. Yes, he is. As Wolski now goes out of the pit lane, Ritchie's jumped him. Williams has now cleared his stop and go. And up to the hairpin they go. He gets very close, and Vitus has jumped Wolski as well. So a bad stop there for Wolski. Has ended up dropping him down the order, and now he's stuck behind Lee as well. He's trying to work his way through the lap traffic. He gets back past John Andrews, but up the inside goes Wolski. Now Lexi tries to go through as well. She manages to do so. Williams as well just about cleared him. No, he's about to now, and he does. Goes around the outside, and job done. Best pulling away from Smith over here. That's your leading bronze fight at the minute. Tucker and Archer still yet to stop though, and Gabino has jumped a few cars again. He's now onto the back of Taylor, who they've all lost out to Unsworth, I believe. So different strategies all seem to be coming into effect at the minute, but Langley is leading away. He's got a few cars to try and pass at the minute. If he's added fuel to the car, we'll see what the rest of them can do. Can they go long? Can Varga go all the way on one set of tyres and full fuel? That is the question. Meanwhile, Flores has just cleared Clarble. Ritchie is pulling away from Waste, who's cleared Vitus, and Lee has got Wolski for company just behind him. So I think Aberdeen's had another moment, because here comes Best and Smith. Best looking to try and gain some more points. Obviously still a few more cars yet to stop. I believe your closest fight at the minute is these two. It is Alexa Marshall and Williams. Williams possibly had another moment, as Alexa Marshall looking to go around the outside of Sam Williams. Can't do so and goes very, very wide. And so far, Skunky, we've had a stop and go and a disqualification, but we've not had a drive-through yet, and we're halfway through this race. I mean, that 50 is looking very, very nice now. I mean, we all have to get exactly what we said, but I say that, there you go, drive-through. Oh God. Oh, Sam, why of all the people as well, one of my team Audio Sport boys gets a drive-through for track limits. But it rains, it pours sometimes, and I think you'll be happy to leave COTA. Oh, there goes another one. Oh God, there's two. I can't believe that. Oh, I just cursed everyone. Commentator's curse is real. Once you break the seal, says Tips. I think when you get to that third strike, it's very difficult to keep them out. Could be 10 drivers on their third warning. There could be, very much so. Ironic. Oh god, I called it. Absolutely called it. Meanwhile, Nebo working his way through the order. He's looking to try and capitalise on Flores in the pits. Langley, meanwhile, clearing some traffic. It's going to be a very interesting strategy towards the end. Whatever Varga, Fandango, and Bolton have all got in plan. I think Fandango really don't look like he's going to possibly have a podium opportunity unless something happens to the leaders. But we'll see what he can do if he decides he can nurse those tyres home. Only add 1 litre of fuel. This could really help him out to boost some points up. We know what the Lexus is like around here. It is terrible. So we'll see how all that pans out. But 2 drivers already with a drive-through. As best is trying to put pressure on Aberdeen. Through the right-hander, there you go. 94 has cleared his drive-through. Saunders will now clear his drive-through, and then he can go again. Now the question is, Skunky, what I want to know, and obviously Tips, you're involved in this one as well, does it have to be 5? Always Best looks up the inside of Aberdeen momentarily, and Aberdeen gives him the racing room, but Best is still, I believe, side by side with the Audi. Yes, he is. And they're going to go up to turn number 1. This is going to be a great move if Best can pull it off. But there is Saunders coming out of the pits. Oh, contact made. And Best and Aberdeen come together. And Best goes a little bit deep. And Smith will go through as well, as will Williams. And Argent himself goes off as well. But in the end, Best losing out there. My question was going to be, does it have to be 5 different drivers, or can it be 5 of the same driver for the drive-throughs? Because if so, Williams, do another couple of and I'll earn 50 quid out of Skunky. As Craig now comes into the pits, as does Fandango, so that strategy of going long, I don't think is going to work for them. So we'll see what happens. Richie still, though, trying to make his strategy work. Well, we did say drive-throughs, meaning track warnings. So, okay. Meanwhile, Nuclear Waste still on the back of Wolfsky, looking for an opportunity. Fandango's stop in the end. Where is Kneebone? He's in the final corner. And he's not quite getting at Fandango, who's now gone up into turn number 1. So, still a little bit of work for Kneebone to do. To be honest, mate, it makes me slightly worried for tomorrow night myself. We know us pros are going to be really pushing the limits, especially in this race. Kneebone there just clearing Tucker. That is full position, but obviously out of sync due to pit stops. Unsworth's still got Taylor harassing the back of him. Meanwhile, Gabino is racing with a lap. That is a car racing for position. That is Craig, and he has just lost out to Gabino. So Gabino drops in behind the Lamborghini. Drive-throughs, not drivers. Oh, okay. So I can't have 5 from Sam and that wins, you know, or 5 from, I don't know, Saunders, who's now got 1 already. Okay, 5 actual drive-throughs. Okay, makes sense. Aberdeen, they're trying to break the toe from Smith as there goes another one. P number 3 drive-through for Bell. So they're all coming in thick and fast, and we've still got 24 minutes still to go in this race. And Langley still with the leading car of Pitters. He's got a purple lap to his name. Bolton and Varga, the far end of the circuit. Now, if Varga has gone full fuel, if he has done that and he's going long, then I think it's going to be extremely tight between him and Langley. if he's nursed those tires, he has nothing to lose really if he wants to get a win. Meanwhile, Benny Archer has gone wide as Unsworth will go through as well. Taylor tries to go around the outside of Benny Archer as well, gets the job done. So positions gained there. If Benny Varga has gone for that option, he's going to be coming in, stopping briefly, off he goes and out. It's going to be extremely tight, I think, but it could work. But Varga needs to get to the end of this stint. That is the thing. So, and he's looking comfortable. Bolton's there going with him as well. So both of these opportunities for a race win. I'm not sure what Langley's strategy was in the end. I don't know if it was half and half fuel, but we will find out possibly a little bit later on. These guys do like to come in. And Varga, no, he's in the pits. So he's having to stop as Bolton carries on through. So I don't know how long his stop is going to be, but there is Langley. Varga has just come into it. Yes, he has, Phil. So what can Langley do here? Is this now a guaranteed race win? Because I thought Varga was going to be the threat. Varga has stopped. Depends how long his stop's going to be. So Langley only now coming into the final sector. So as Varga goes green now, he's looking good. If Varga, when's he going to go green? I think Langley's covered him. Yeah, that's the position gone. Whatever Varga's gone from, he's gone green, but it's not enough. As Bell has now cleared his drive-through. 2 to go for me to win on the drive-through predictions. Track temperature now 35 degrees. It is scorching out there as Varga, long trip down the pit lane. There is Richie, to be fair. So Richie's exiting the final corner. So Richie's strategy has worked relatively well. He's going to be right on the back of Varga, I think. Varga has now come off the limiter. Richie's going to go up to turn number 1. Varga losing out to Richie here. And Vitus as well. Vitus goes around the outside of Benny Varga and he's lost out. So, not guaranteed if you're at the far end of the circuit. Now the question is, what does Bolton do? Bolton, if he's doing a similar strategy to what Varga's doing, Tucker's into the pits now, he's going to drop in behind Varga and lose more places himself. Oh, Best has gone wide and nearly contact there with Kieran Argent. And he gets close to the back of the BMW driver. Smith, meanwhile, got a drive-through at Watkins last Sunday, popped into second gear coming off pit road in a clear brain fart relaxation moment. I think, has he took tyres? Who are you referencing there, Skunk? Are you referencing Langley or Varga? Because if it was Varga, it was pointless now. You might as well have gone to the end. Varga looking down the inside of Vitus. He's gone very, very deep. And has lost out there to Vitus. So Vitus just being calm and collected. If he has changed tyres, he's not. He's done that strategy a bit backwards, I think. He should have done it about halfway through the race. I'm with you guys now. I'm with you guys. I think Varga, if he's done that, I don't know. I think possibly too little too late. He should have used them up in the first half and then had another set ready for the other half. So an equal performance. I think he possibly lost performance towards the end. He's a lot of loss of time in the pits. Maybe missed his box, possibly so. Lots of things to consider as well. Maybe a bit too safe coming on the exits as well. Unsworth, meanwhile, still got pressure from these two as Taylor and Gabino are breathing down his neck. Oh, they get so close to one another. But this is what I'm loving about this new season. This is what I'm loving about these new rules. The way the rules work is there's so many opportunities for different strategies. We saw that at Zandvoort, where myself and the rest of the guys around me chose to obviously go long on fuel and obviously stick with the tyres, while myself went half and half with the fuel and fresh tyres and was much faster, possibly about 1 to 2 seconds lap faster than myself and McGowan. So and that was on a tight circuit. This is a circuit where you can overtake, so it is a more possible opportunity to give it. Yeah, you'd think 50-50 if you're changing tires. If you're doing that, if you are planning to change tires, that is the strategy you go. As Gabino looking to make a move, as Taylor makes a slight mistake in the hairpin, that's going to really really hold him in a really tricky position going through the S's, possibly looking more in his mirrors than he is looking forward. Meanwhile, further back, Tucker and Smith are going at it. Tucker is now the leading bronze driver, so he's had a good stop himself. A real good scrap for 21st, 22nd place I'm watching, which is where we are now at. It is a real good scrap, as Smith now looking up the inside to get past Tucker. Tucker's got damage to the front of his car, and Smith gains the position now. Good move there from him, as Argent in the middle of this, as is Williams. Best trying to work his way through the order also. Oh, and Best not the best run through there for him. And Smith here just holding off Tucker and Williams. And Argent looking for a way through himself. Through the S's, there you go. Oh, I think the back end just stepped out ever so slightly for some of these cars, as the tyres are now starting to degrade and suffer. Gabino's lost time to Taylor, and Argent's going to look around the outside of Waste, and I think the the BMW will get the advantage in the straight line, and he's got the toe of Tucker in front. Waste wants that toe as well, so Waste and Argent going wheel to wheel at the minute. Best is hoping that they possibly come together so he can capitalise on that. And around the outside, Argent turns in on Waste, and Waste was always still there. He was never going to yield the position, and this is where Best could possibly gain an opportunity here. Up the inside of Waste he goes, but the back end just steps out a little bit to Best. He tucks in nicely on the inside, and Nuclear Waste there losing out to Argent, and is defending like mad to Best at the minute. Vitas meanwhile hunting down Varga, who's Varga is hunting down Ritchie. Now the problem with this strategy that he's pulled, even though he'll clear Ritchie, it's then nearly a 20-second gap to Langley. So in my opinion, Bolton, who is possibly taking it as long as he possibly can and saving the tyres, I think that's really the strategy to go. We are going through the right-handers right now. Benedict Varga really trying to get himself back in the podium position, but Ritchie closes him off and he can't find a way through. Nebo now has caught Fandango, so that strategy has started to work in his favour. Also, still under pressure from Taylor as the fights are now coming together, as Craig was onto the back of old Sim Racer. Meanwhile, Best is going up the inside of Tucker and he gets the job done. So Waste and Tucker have lost out to Argent as well. So Best has worked his way through those two as well. So Best moving on through as Argent tries to hunt down Smith, who's just disappeared, as those McLarens are too busy trying to defend with the damage on their car as well. But into the hairpin they go, and wide goes Tucker, and that's going to give Nuke Waste the position as well, up the inside and bouncing all over the sausage curbs. Varga meanwhile ahead as there, the fourth one, the 663, that is Johnson. A drive-through penalty, one more, and I win the 50 quid off a Skunky. One more to go. Come on, boys. Someone save it to the very end. And Taylor once again looking aggressive on Unsworth, but can't do anything. Vitas close to Varga, but not close enough. But here we go. Kneebone and Varga. Kneebone up the inside, and contact is made. And Kneebone gives the position back. Was a little bit of a push to pass. A good driving there from Kneebone. Good respect given. And now he's underneath the back of Fandango. And you'll see the Lexus just pull away from the McLaren. go on board with the Lexus. Just drive away from McLaren. Look at it, just pull and pull and pull. Nothing he can do, but just look at the Lexus, it's longer. But then obviously the terrible brakes that are on the Lexus and the best downforce really struggles in the end. And Varga once again pressurizing Richie right to the very end here. I think Bolton is going as long as he possibly can. There is a car in a pit lane. That is Tuckett, obviously, with the damage he sustained. Johnson serving his drive-through. And here we go. Varga's got to run on Richie. He obviously looks to the inside, went to the outside. Richie, can he make sure he hits his braking points? He manages to do so, but Varga can't find a way through. And just joining them in the background is Wolfsky as well. So is Wolfsky taking tyres. So here we go. Varga, Richie, Vitas and Wolfsky all batting out for these final few positions on the podium. Oh, Varga looking for a look up the inside. Not quite able to, and there we go. Oh, a little sniff opportunity. There's number 5, Old Sim Racer, and Richie makes a mistake and he drops back behind the 4 of them, and Varga goes through. Vitas there just trying to now capitalize on that mistake, and through into the final part of this race we go as Bolton finally stops. Where is Langley? He's in the middle of a massive fight by the looks of things. Aberdeen there going wheel to wheel with Andrews, and Langley gets caught up in it once again. So same as Zandvoort, he gets caught up in the traffic. So if Bolton goes green relatively early, we could still see a fight for the win. But I think Langley should be able to clear him, no problem. Yes, he will. And Vitas now defending off of Wolfsky. I think Wolfsky saved, put on tyres as well. As Langley comes out of the final corner, how far down is Bolton? He's near the exit actually, so he's not a million miles away. There is Langley. Does he come off the limiter? He comes off the limiter now. So he's not really close enough to Langley on this one. But if Langley gets caught up in traffic once again, or any fights that are happening, there could be serious trouble here. Like, for example, Best and Williams have got their own fight going on at the minute, so they could get distracted by one another and be involved in an incident. Meanwhile, Taylor still giving Unsworth a bit of a headache. Kneebone still can't find a way through on Fandango, just due to the straight line advantage of that Lexus. It's just saving him at the minute. And Kneebone just trying to be clever with the track limit, try and find where he can get through on the Lexus. And look at the, pretty much Kneebone's pushing him as he's right underneath the rear wing of the Lexus. Heading up to turn number 1, he shows his nose. Fandango goes to defend. Can Kneebone do what he did to the others earlier on? No, he can't, but he continues to carry the momentum through. And once again, Fandango holds on. Nuclear Waste still yet to stop. Bennett Varga, though, meanwhile, still holding off Vitas. He must have taken tyres, because Bolton is only 4.4 off the back of Langley. So yeah, if Varga had gone long and stuck with the tyres, I think he possibly would have been at least fighting with Langley. Oh, Wolfsky looked like he got on the curb ever so slightly, and that just upset the car ever so slightly. 10 minutes to go. No more drive-throughs, please. As we see there, Taylor with the lights on. He's now under pressure from Gabino. As Gabino trying to get up into 11th place position, which will be a top 10, I think, in the end, with Nuclear Waste finally stopping. But I think if Varga wanted to make that strategy work, he should have saved it at the midpoint of the race, and it's not worked out for him whatsoever. Old sim racer Lee and Flores all getting close to one another. Bestie and Williams still having a fight. I believe Bolton is now coming up to lap him shortly, as Langley has cleared them, and Fandango has finally lost out to Kneebone, and Kneebone has got through. We missed that one. How's drive-through has been? How many drive-throughs have there been? There's been 5 exactly. So what I'm saying is no more, please, boys. No more. We've only got a couple of laps to go. Just hang in there. And Varga there, still holding off Vitas and Wolfski. Richie's just dropped off the pace where his strategy earlier on looked good. I think it's not looking like it's going to hang on in the end. Gabino there, meanwhile, trying to still hunt down Taylor. All the gaps are just spreading out. Flores and Lee even gap in a minute, as Waste is now the final guy to get his pit stops done. And everyone will have done their pit stops. Unleash the drive-through, says Tips. Don't unleash the drive-throughs. Double or nothing next week. What's next week? Barcelona. I'll have a think about that. And let you know in a week. But Varga at the minute still holding off these 2 drivers. Those extra tyres though have not really done much to his car. He's not really pulled away at all. He's ended up stuck and not really gone anywhere with it. So meanwhile, Langley pretty much in control of this race, lapping the couple cars. Bolton also in a solid P2 at the minute. Those 2 holding off the rest of the order, as I believe Best is still defending heavily from Williams. He's got Aberdeen there as well now, who's joined the party. What else is going on? Flores has Old Sim Racer and Lee for company. Old Sim Racer flashing the lights at Lexi, I think, to tell him to back off. We're about to go into a left-hander, all battling for position. Lee's just trying to be later on the race, get a little bit closer. Through the right-hander they go. Flores really just struggling for grip by the looks of things. Keeps it together, keeps it facing the right way. Wolfski has a big moment there, a big slide. Old Sim Racer, meanwhile, had a good run through the second part of the Hockenheim. So, and there goes Flores. He's dropped it all on his own, and around he goes. Can he keep it out of trouble? He's got to try and spin it around. Luckily, there's no cars coming around at him at the minute. Just a 661 of wheel. Pit window has closed. I had a heart attack then. As Gabino's stopped, he's coming to pits. Has he been disconnected? That looks like a disconnection to me. Possibly. And once again, Varga still defending heavily from Vites and Wolfski. But something has happened to Gabino. He's ended up back in pit lane. Excuse me. Into the right-handers they go. Meanwhile, Best is still defending from Williams, Aberdeen. Stork's not quite on the back of this fight. We've got Bell on the back of it as well. So a lapped car of Bell just sticking to the back of these cars. Through the S's, there you go. Best just hanging in there for the minute. Not really got any threat from the guys behind, as Benedict Varga looks like he's under some pressure now from Vitas right to the very end of this race. But in the end, between myself, Skunky and Tips, Myself going for 5, Skunky going for 7, Tips going for 11. Looking like in favour of me for drive-throughs. Nail it on the head, hopefully. As Argent now just allowing Bolton to come through. Best still ahead of Aberdeen and Williams. And looks like Bell's actually split them. Oh, balls. Gary Clarvall ruins my chance and gets a drive-through. 6 now to the names. Taylor looks to attack ahead. He's still on the back of Vitas and Varga, not really able to do anything at the minute. Oh, and in the background, Aberdeen has gone round. And Best and Williams have got Skunky says cheers, Gary. Oh, God. Double or nothing for Barcelona. Yeah, it sounds good to me, Skunky. Because I do think someone else might get one more. Oh, God. Varga clears a little bit of traffic there. I believe that is Starrock. Yeah, it is. So it clears Starrock relatively easy. Now Vitas is coming through. I think this is what happened last time I commentated on COTA. Me and Skunky pretty much spent most of the time discussing how many drive-throughs were going to happen. And in the end, 6 has come up in that one. But Langley, where is Langley? Oh, there goes Langley. That's 7. That's Bell. Oh, God. No, DJ Fields doesn't count. He had a puncher. Bell with another drive-through to his name. Gabino has gone out on track now. As Clarvall has cleared his drive-through. Best is Jock Williams because Bell was ended up splitting them again. So, Wolski's looking really interested onto the back of Vitas here. The question is, are we on the final lap? Where is Langley? He's in the final sector. He can't really relax at the minute. If he tries to back off to win, that is 7. Yes, Skunky, that is 7. So Langley, I think he might want to try and back off. He possibly don't want to do another lap, but he's coming into the final corner now, a couple of corners. We'll keep an eye on him. It's going to be tight to the clock. In the final corner he goes. Is he going to do one more lap? Yes, he will.
Right, man.
So Langley has to do another lap as the leader goes on through. Hey, Skunky, you said double or nothing for the next round, so next round it is. Wolski looks like he got close to Vitas, but ended up dropping back further. Taylor looks like he's catching Fandango by the looks of things. Unsworth ended up dropping down the order. Craig is kind of in no man's land. The only other real fight at the minute is Best. He's pulled away from Williams. So everyone else is pretty much on their own. But it has been an interesting race nonetheless here in COTA. Will the pros falter any better with drive-throughs? That is the question. I'll think about it. Oh, God. Oh, there you go. Archie gets a drive-through, right? That's 8. Oh, there we go. Oh, excuse me. A couple more and Tips will be back in the running for this one. Vitas here under massive pressure from Wolski. Looking left, looking right. All this with 50p. The Skunky's upset now. got hiccups now, trying to stop my hiccups as Wolski and Vitas go wheel to wheel. We have to keep an eye on Langley, but Vitas looking to defend, but Wolski's trying to squeeze him to the apex, and Wolski will get the job done. He goes a little bit wide, but job done for him as Vitas might try to come back, but Langley flashing the lights already, and another win to his name. I believe that is 3 from 3. Monza, Zandvoort, and now COTA at his home race. Langley wins the circuit of the Americas. Congratulations to him. Bolton, in the end, having to come home for a P2 position. Varga with a very, very good P3 to his name as well. Bernard Varga exits the final corner to get himself a podium position. Wolski crosses the line, finish in 4th ahead of Vitas. Regine is going to get that 6th place position. Ahead of Kneebone, who's quite the well away. Rest of the oil is coming across line. Smith, Argent, Best, Williams, Aberdeen, Storrock, Archer, Betterson, Tucker, Marshall, Wheels, Williams, Bell, Johnson, and a few others as we still wait for Kneebone to come into the final few corners. Great races and congratulations to the winners. Great job, SimPlay. Thank you very much, Mac, in the chat, and well done, says Skunky in the chat as well. Kneebone crossed the line in 7th with Fandango in 8th. And Taylor is going to get himself into the top 10 with a 9th place position. Oh no, Unsworth ends up getting him in the end. Taylor drops down into P10. Craig in the end gets P11. Then it's going to be Nuke Base Ultimate Racer, who's still battling with Lee right to the very end here. And Old Sim Racer and Lee go wheel to wheel, and will Lee get him on the line? Old Sim Racer will get the run. Lee nabs it by 0.003 of a second. Oh, very, very close, and Flores will round off the order as well. And that is that. Thank you, COTA, for a night of interesting racing, and obviously a great race nonetheless. But it was a Forza, it was a Ferrari domination with Langley and Bolton winning that one. And Hanger in the chat saying, how can I join us? Head over to SimGrid and type in SimPlay Motorsport. Once you're on the SimGrid, then you can get yourself signed up and be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. There's also a description in and below as well that should take you to the Discord and the SimGrid as well. And you can be a part of the action. I'll be back in a few moments' time as I will get the interviewers ready to go in the chat. So I'll be back in a few moments' time. Now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you should all hear me in the stream. And first things first, hopefully we should be able to have, we've got Langley in the comms box at the minute. So first things first, let's make sure I have all of my settings set up correctly, because the last time we've done this, it went completely tits up. So hopefully we should have this all working. Let's unmute Langley and see if we can hear him. So first things first, good evening Langley, let's just do a test to make sure we can hear you.
Good evening, how are you?
We have got this loud and clear. Thank you very much, mate. And I'm doing very well. And I bet you're doing very well yourself after a brilliant night's worth of racing.
Yeah, I was sweaty last night.
Very sweaty, very hot. How was the Ferrari in these very tricky conditions? Obviously, track temperature scorching here in Texas. How was it for you? Was the tyres just struggling towards the end?
I kind of got lucky. I mean, I'll admit I was running brake ducts 5.6, but with the practice server being track temp close to 40, 41 throughout the week, actually when I got here and it was 32, the tires were more in the window of what I needed it to be. So actually this is right on the limit of where the Ferrari was good in, because a few degrees hotter for me at least, and I had to turn my steer ratio all the way up so my turning was smoother, because once you start sliding, the tires keep sliding and it's just overheating. But yeah, since it was only 30 degrees and 32 track temp, tires were fine this race, had the proper pressures, and right on the limit of being too hot, but not too hot for the rears, and the fronts were fine just all race.
Obviously, this is one of your home circuits this season. Of the two, obviously we got Laguna later on in the season. Is this one of the two that you prefer, or are you looking more forward to Laguna later on in the season?
I know it's gonna sound corny, but I approach every race the same. I mean, it's nice to win my own race. It was a beautiful sprint as well. I did not expect to get up to P2 in the sprint. It was just carnage into turn 1. And when I say, I mean, I remember driving downhill out of turn 1 for the sprint, and I was following a car, and then I just saw a car rolling backwards in front of me, and it was chaos, to say the least. But Laguna Seca is fun, definitely more punishing in terms of lap time if you push it too far, because the track limits is the sand and dirt. Here track limits is sometimes imaginary, to be honest. I mean, it's more like the F1 track limits.
Yeah.
At the penultimate corner you can go over the white line and take the curb, and I know in the S's sometimes you can be within the white line with 2 tires and still get track limit warning. So especially the S's are sometimes imaginary, but yeah, happy to win. I'm gonna take the next race at Barcelona, I believe, the same as
it
this
is
one.
Barcelona, yeah.
Maybe I'll start practicing with higher temperatures to begin with, so that when the track does cool down, it feels easier, because that's what happened here. I was nowhere. I mean, my car was sliding all over the place when I was practicing, and I just, even with 6 rear brake ducts at like 35 ambient, I was sliding too much and I couldn't keep the tires under control. So the fact that it dropped a few degrees actually played to my favor a lot.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on a brilliant drive this evening, and another race win to your name.
Appreciate that, and congrats to Bolton. Good strategy. I was absolutely punching it that last stint because I knew he wasn't going to take tires, so good strategy for him to get P2, and Varga for another podium.
And we now move on to Varga himself. And Benny, obviously another race for yourself, another podium as well. Obviously opting to go for the tyre change yourself, obviously just losing out in the end, possibly for a race win. But nonetheless, another solid podium for yourself. How was your BMW by the end of that?
Well, I was feeling quite confident, at least into the first stint of the race, because my tire wear was good, my pace was good. So at one point I was catching Langley, so I was really confident pushing it. But my in-lap was pretty unlucky because there was a car spinning in front of me and ruined my whole first sector, so I lost like 5 or 6 seconds there. So I had to wrestle myself up to P3 again because I was overtaken by Ricci and Vites, so great racing by them, and I'm really happy with this P3 after all.
Well, it seems like you seem to be going into a run of form at the minute. You've got another couple of podiums to your hand. It's surely not too far away from a race win for yourself. It seems like I said, everything's starting to fall into place. Is there anything in particular that you've done differently coming into these races, or is it just all just suddenly falling into place?
Well, the main factor is that my luck is playing out a bit better. And the pace of the Beamer is quite nice, and it fits my driving style quite well. It has a really pointy front end and I can play with that, so yeah, it's starting to get better and better.
And obviously, how did you find the temperatures? Obviously, the BMW tends to be a little bit nicer on the tyres, but obviously you did a tyre change as well yourself. How was the car in general?
Well, the tires were quite overheating, so I had to change them because I was sliding a lot, especially at the end of my first stint, so there was no question that I'm gonna change my tires. I had a feeling that Boulton would not change his tires, but I was scared for my P3 place even, with that absolute disaster of an in-lap, so I think I made a good decision because I had the upper hand against Vitas and Ricci, so I can thank my podium to the tire change.
Yeah, obviously next on the calendar we head to Spain, we head to Catalonia, Barcelona next on the calendar. What's your thoughts on Barcelona and how do you think you're going to get on there?
Well, I hope to get a podium there too because I quite enjoy that circuit. Obviously overtaking is not as easy as like here, but it's a much better track to be honest than COTA, so I hope to have at least a top 3 finish again.
Well, that's a surprise that somebody likes COTA. Barcelona. So there we go there. But nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the podium tonight, and we'll catch you next week at Barcelona.
Thank you very much.
And as I mute those guys, we look to next week for the Pro-Am boys. They've got a bit of resting to do, try and cool off after the hot temperatures here in Austin, Texas. Regarding the championship standings, the standings has been updated, and it looks like this. Langley still leads the way. He's got an 81-point gap over Vitas in second, with Fandango now in third, Flores in P4, with Varga moving his way up to P5. Wolski in P6, Richie P7, Unsworth P8, P9 is Bolton, and P10 is Kneebone. And then you got Lee in 11th, Greaves in 12th, with Old Sim Racer followed behind him, and Aberdeen, Taylor, Craig, Clarble, Waste, Argent, Gabino rounding out the top 20. Bell still leading the bronze class ahead of Saunders, Smith, Johnson, Williams, Archer, DeBlanc, Best, KLF, Marshall, Goodwill, Bettison, Storrock, DJ Phil, Tucker, Dempsey, Will, and Andrews, Roy, and Wasocki rounding out the order. Regarding the teams, it is 4Q Motorsport who leave here ahead of No Gas, No Glory in second, with Greasy Bandits in third, as the NRL Racing and Cloud9 are level on points, with Team Audio Sport in 6th, SimPlay Racing in 7th, OWR Racing in 8th, with Soldor in 9th, Black and Blue Racing in 10th, with Team Merlot 11th, Lexi's Industries 12th, 2C's Racing 13th, with Team GBR 14th, 15th is Rapid Rabbits GT, and Quantum Motorsport in P16. 17 is BSR OGR in 18th, and Wasaki Racing bringing up the rear. From myself, that is it for the Pro-Ams and for the Who Darren Cup. We will now take rest and recovery, as it is then the Pros' turn tomorrow night. Can anyone stop the MSA boys of Torok and Sylv, who are currently leading the championship, with Williams now starting to give him a bit of a headache, and O'Reilly and Oza not too far behind? It is still reasonably tight. The top 10 in the champion at the minute only separated by 69 points. That is how close it is between them. Make sure you tune in with Sweet and Sticky in your box. They will bring you all the action, with Kelly Davis and Matthew Duffin bringing you all the action. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified. If you do like what you see here, then head over to the Sim Grid and get yourself signed up. The Discord is also in the chat as well. Thank you to everybody who was chatting in the stream. We had Skunky, Tips, Varga, PN, Mac, and all the rest of the guys if I've missed you. Thank you all for joining in the chat, and we shall see you all in a week's time as we head off to sunny Spain for Catalonia, Barcelona next on the calendar. But for myself and everyone here, it's good night.